In Canada, you can start a political party dedicating to separating Quebec from the country. No problemo. You can start fringe climate parties. Also, no biggie. But try to start a sovereignty party in Alberta. Suddenly, Elections Canada becomes a real stickler for the technicalities. I want to give full credit to Blacklock's reporter for breaking the story because without them digging through access to information records, we wouldn't even know this happened. And what happened should concern anyone who cares about fair elections and fair treatment in this country, inside and outside of Alberta. The chief electoral officer, Stéphane Perreault, refused to register the Alberta First Party, a pro sovereignty party, even though they submitted 370 members. Now, the legal requirement, 250. So they're way over the threshold. But Elections Canada decided to verify the membership list. Fine. Except they did it by mailing out confirmation letters during the Canada Post strike. You can't make this stuff up. Only 129 confirmation letters came back. Why? Because a bunch of rural Albertans never even received the letters. I can attest to this. I'm still getting mail from when the postal strike was on.
There's one seat left in the movie theater. It's in the front row. You have a bad neck. This is what we call a last resort. If your most recent electricity bill says the rate of last resort, then your rate is like the front row seat in the movie theater. It will serve its purpose, but there are likely better options available.
Instead of acknowledging the obvious logistical problem of its fellow government agency, Canada Post, Elections Canada just disqualified the party. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Internal briefing notes admit that other parties have been registered without meeting the 250 member requirement. Stop Climate Change in 2019, the United Party in 2023. Elections Canada literally wrote that in, quote, rare circumstances, parties have become eligible without meeting the minimum membership requirement. So let's get this straight. If you're a climate party, they're giving you flexibility. If you're some other sort of fringe party, also flexibility. But if you're an Alberta sovereignty party, suddenly we're splitting hairs over mail confirmations during a postal strike. Barry Nodal, the Alberta First leader, says he felt they were being given a hard time. And it's hard to argue with that. And here's the bigger issue. Elections Canada registers Quebec sovereignty parties without even blinking an eye. Quebec can have parties explicitly devoted to advancing Quebec's interests, even separation, and that's treated as normal democratic expression, as it should be. But when Albertans try to organize around sovereignty, the old microscope comes out. Why is that? If federal institutions are neutral, they should be neutral both ways. If technical rules are rigid and universally enforced, that should be the case. Or if there's reasonable discretion, it should be applied evenly. What we appear to have here is discretion applied selectively. And that fuels the sovereignty movement in Alberta, doesn't it? Because that is one of the big issues. You cannot have a democracy where the referee seems to lean one direction depending on who's on the ice. Because once people lose trust in the neutrality of Elections Canada, the damage is far bigger than one party's registration status. Again, full credit to Blacklocks for surfacing this. Now the question is, will anyone demand consistent standards, or are sovereignty movements only acceptable when they're east of the Ottawa River? That's a credibility issue, and credibility, once lost, is very hard to mail back in. For Rebel News, I'm Sheila Gunn-Reid. Hey, I've got a brand new book. It talks about what Alberta can learn from the Quebec sovereigntist movement that stress tested what it really means to leave Confederation. It's called Independence Blueprint, What Alberta Can Learn from Quebec, and you can get your copy today at independenceblueprint.ca.